to news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
What a ball for Ricky Peach.
News across the galaxy. Keep on nagging, guys. Your six-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Damn. Hearing that intro just made me sad once again. And I mean, whatever. Welcome to News Across the Galaxy, where we talk all things LA Galaxy. I am one of your hosts, Bryant Lobos, and joining me tonight is Mr. Edgar Zuniga. How are you doing tonight, sir? You're muted, by the way.
Sorry, I'm in the same boat as you are, man, because I still can't believe that they actually won the cup because 2023 was such a horrible season. And then this season is so horrible. And then you have that Oasis that was last season.
Yeah.
And every time we see that intro, I'm like, did that really happen? I mean,
It's
it's
such a-
documented, right?
It's a distant memory. It doesn't seem those two teams that the team that's now and the team that was last year. It's very night and day. And I was gonna introduce us with an applause, but
Thank you.
but
For us.
for
Just
us,
sticking around.
but this one seems more proper. Yeah. Do not know where to go from here, but welcome everybody. We are late night nagging late
Nagging?
night. What is it called? Nag after dark. There you
Nag
go.
after dark.
Nag after dark. Anyway, before we get into any depressing LA Galaxy talk, do we have any MLS news, Edgar, that you'd like to share?
Nope.
Noted. On to
I
the
mean-
next. Go ahead.
I mean, there's Mueller. I like the Mueller made his debut in Vancouver. I take it. I just heard that he was there. He was in the lineup. I'm guessing they trotted him out there at some point.
Yeah.
So good for them. Good for them.
I actually seen a highlight of Mueller scoring a goal, but it got brought back for some reason. I haven't given my thoughts on Mueller going to Vancouver because mostly the time that we've mentioned it on the show is when you've had midweek talks with other MLS podcasts. And so from my perspective, I think that's a great move for Vancouver. For one, it's a team that you can't really hate on. As much as we've played them, I have no ill will towards them. As a matter of fact, I was rooting for them in the Champions League final. So I think they're probably the fans' sweetheart that, you can't really hate this team, right? Especially because they don't really have hateable players. Mueller's a great guy. Bryant White, he made his jump this season and even got called up to the national team. So it's, their fan base is awesome. You've been to the city. You said the city's awesome. So it's a lot of positive with Vancouver.
It's so different from their hockey fans. Their hockey fans are some of the most like vilified fans in the entire NHL. Kings fans absolutely loathe them. So it's weird. It's so weird. Like if I walked around the city of Vancouver wearing a Galaxy kit, maybe one or two Vancouver Whitecaps fans would come up to me and say, "Hey, what's up?" If I walked around wearing an LA Kings jersey, I probably had people flipping me off or something.
Shout out to Nathan Derrick and his whack ass. Anyway, in better news, the EPL started. Yes,
Yay!
it's the year for Everton to make it to the Euro Cup because we signed. Everton ended up signing Jack Grealish, who was a Champions League winner and the EPL champion. And I think he's going to flourish in Everton. What about your Fulham? What do they look like this season?
Fulham didn't do shit. they didn't pick up anybody. In fact, it was like a running gag within the Fulham online community where it was like, who do they pick up this week? No one. Can you guys please do something? Every week, they would have that little meme of the guy with the stick poking the thing saying, do something.
Yeah.
Fulham didn't pick up anyone. It's funny because they're owned by, the Cons, who own AEW. So I don't know if the Cons are focused on AEW or the Jaguars, but or the Jaguars. I'm sorry.
Why Jaguars?
That's what they
Why
call them in
that
Florida.
pronunciation? That is
The
crazy.
Jaguars. Or I could say it all British. Jaguar. You know.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
No.
that's how we say it down here in East London. The Jaguars. Um, no, Fulham is a mid-table club with mid-table results, and they're sitting exactly where they are, mid-table, baby, after a 1-1 draw with Brighton. So
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Everton gets to play tomorrow, so I'm gonna get to stay home and watch that match because I mean I can't get hurt anymore, right? There's no way Everton could do worse. They're playing Leeds. It's dismantled. All right.
but you know
I
what?
see. Yes.
One last thing: the Niners beat the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's go
let's
Niners.
go.
I like that. All right. Well, I guess we got to get to this depressing match. I see the comment in there. What is it? Popozal. I see it. We'll address it in a bit. But first, Edgar, LA Galaxy versus Inter Miami. We had a midweek show with Daniel from the
Battered
Herons.
Herons
Batter
podcast.
Herons. Yes.
Las Garzas CF Battered Herons podcast.
Yeah. Take us through that conversation before this match went down because a lot of the stuff you guys were talking about came to be true. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, my apologies. I've been dealing with a virus all week. It's not COVID, it's not the flu, but my God, it knocked me down for like a couple of days, and I'm still coughing. My throat's a little itchy. But Daniel Solano, really nice guy, is Uruguayo. So he's on with Mate there, and he was. He came on the show with us, and we were chatting about Inter Miami versus LA Galaxy, and pretty much everything we talked about came to pass. He was telling me about how some of the weaknesses that Inter Miami have, that LA Galaxy can exploit, including how their defense is not particularly strong and how they're not very good at responding to counterattacks. But it didn't matter because LA Galaxy didn't really do much. The one thing that they did tell me, and it's because I was a guest on the Battered Herons podcast a day later. They told me one of the greatest strengths that Inter Miami has is the press. They press on their offensive third, and LA Galaxy, as we've seen in recent games, especially, have a very difficult time getting out of the press. We saw it especially against Cruz Azul. We saw it against Seattle. You press this LA Galaxy team, and they're already prone to making mistakes, and this just amplifies that. So we both going into the game. We both said predicted Inter Miami was going to win 3-1. I said LA Galaxy's defense is very soft up the middle. They're very soft on the sides. Sounds like a fat boy problems, right? Little fat up the middle, a little fat on the sides. They're also one of the things that really bothers me about this team is that they allow other teams enough space to create chances, and that's because if you pay attention, there's gaps between the midfield and the attacking, group, and there's also gaps between the midfield, which is kind of disconnected from the defensive squad. We've seen it time and time again. It's not something that's constantly there throughout the match, but it happens enough where you start to notice, hey, there's gaps between the defense and the mid. They're not really connecting. There's something going on. I don't know if the CDMs aren't coming back. I know some of them are working as double pivots,
Well,
and
well. With that said, let's go with the lineup, and then we'll straight talk
yeah,
about that match.
we do have a super
Yeah,
chat, but we can
let's
address
address
it.
let's get some Ricky Pooge magic healing slash wavy. What is it? What were you doing with this?
Oh, it was. Daniel said it was his hair, and there was also a little healing, powder for his knees.
A little healing power. Go ahead, Edgar.
Adam, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Adam asks, "Can I get your thoughts on people's thoughts on Sanabria's performance yesterday, especially after exchanging jerseys with Luis Suarez? And is he a bust?"
Do you want to put a pin in this one?
Let's put a pin in it,
Yeah.
and then we could address the whole Luis Suarez thing because I did see that. But yeah, yes.
Okay, we'll put a pin on that. As far as the lineup goes, at goal, Mikovic was at goal. Your center back pairing, which was an odd pairing, was Zanka and Edwin Serio. Out right, Mickey Yamane. Out left, John the Rock Nelson. In the midfield, I think this is the first time. Well, not the first time, but maybe the first time in a long time that we've seen this pairing. Isaiah Parente and Winder as your two pivot. Out left, Diego Faundes. Out right, Gabriel Peck. Your number 10, quote unquote, Marco Royce. And up top, Joseph Painsil. What did you make of this lineup, Edgar? Because the obvious missing piece is another actual center back. Could this be a maybe saving players' legs for the match against Pachuca, or is this what we have as a healthy roster?
I knew there was going to be a certain level of rotation. I expected that. And going into the match, we had heard that it was Garces who was questionable because we looked at the player availability report and we saw that obviously Ricky Puig is still out, officially with the knee injury, and then there's Carlos Emiro Garces questionable, but leg injury. But nowhere did I expect to see Maya Yoshida not even be in the bench. That wasn't in the cards, so that was a big surprise to me. Um, like I said, I knew I expected some rotation. The fact that he wasn't there as a starter would have been fine if at least he would have been on the bench. But the fact that he wasn't on the bench kind of raised a little bit of an alarm. I'm just hoping that he's healthy enough to go against Pachuca, but not seeing him there, obviously he was missed because man, Zanka's not it, man. I mean, he has against lower opposition, he's all right, but against teams that rely on that relentless attack like Miami, he just gets completely outclassed.
So, what is some of the qualities that you do appreciate from Zanka? Because from my end, it feels that he's not as bad with his feet, like passing out from the back, as we think he is. It's just on the defensive side, which is the most important side of being a center back, where he lacks, I guess, motor. But what positive do you see in Zanka? Then maybe that the LA Galaxy, because they haven't signed anybody new, or it doesn't seem like they're going to sign anybody new. I think the transfer window is about to close, and there's no new center back. So is this
Mhm.
probably a player that they look at for next year and like, oh, this is our guy now?
No, Zanka, I don't want to see him back next season. I think he's going to be back though. I hope the team finds a way to get rid of him. To be honest,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, when you bring in somebody that has that kind of experience, obviously that helps a lot in the locker room because you could share that experience. You could teach things to younger people, like I gotta says, but people have to be willing to, to receive that kind of tutelage, especially somebody young. But there's always like the language barrier. I don't know if they really have that, especially because I know those younger players are brought in. They're put on the Duolingo to start learning, English as soon as possible. But obviously, his experience counts for a lot. But I mean, as we get older, their legs start to go. And let me tell you, man, last week my son and I, he was like, "Hey, Papa, let's run." Right? So like, he's 5, and I'm like, he starts running, and I'm like, man, I cannot run this kid twice as fast in my dreams, right? I start running, man. I pulled my Achilles,
Oh no.
and I'm like, no, 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 that's not supposed to happen, right? I mean, and that's I mean, I'm older, obviously, but when you play at a certain level, and and you're expected to respond as quickly as these guys do at professional level, somebody like Sanka, who we've seen isn't the slowest. I mean, it's the fastest guy. He's got two speeds, right? Slow and slower. That's a huge detriment to him. And it also feels like sometimes he just doesn't understand MLS. He's got all that experience from playing, in the European game, but MLS is a whole different beast. And I think if you come in here thinking that it's going to be a walk in the park, that somebody like Capirlo, for example, who came in here like, yeah, whatever, I got all my experience. And then people are running circles, literally people are running circles around him. And that's not going to work, man. I feel like LA Galaxy just got bottom basement bargain bin, whatever they could. They're like, oh, maybe this guy will do something. No, he hasn't done much. It just goes to show, he's there, right? I mean, at least it's not Zabaleta, right? I mean, which I guess is the bottom denominator.
Nah, from my end, he has been bad, but so has the whole team. It's just not on him. It's everybody, all the 11 players that Vandy always lines up with. They haven't responded to what a champion should respond the next season after winning it. I mean, this hangover has lasted the whole season for them. It's bad. So it's not just him. I'm hoping that next season is something different. I mean, it looks like he's gonna stay, but um, whatever. Anyway, let's get to this match. Before this match happened, Miami had scored 8 goals in their last 5 matches. The LA Galaxy 13 goals in their last 5 matches. Didn't really. It's not really a stat that really favored us because in this match, the LA Galaxy was not too dominant at all. Let me give you guys some stats from this match. In this match, of course, the LA Galaxy was gonna be the one leading the stats. But in this first half, this is where the dominance from Miami came. Total shots, 12-0. 12-0. The LA Galaxy did not shoot one shot at Miami. And we were lucky because Mikovic came through a lot in that first half. And on top of that, Suarez, for some reason, he had an early look and he whiffed it completely. A player like that whiffing it, in times like those, you always think, the ones you don't make are the ones that the ones that you get back or you get scored on. And so seeing that early miss kind of gave me hope. But no, at the 33rd minute, Jordi Alba gets a nice, beautiful through pass by Sergio Busquets. And, old Barcelona, man, puts it in the back of the net.
Oh, that was such a nice goal, man.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's against our team, right? But we all love the game. It's a beautiful game. You see something like that, you're like, oh man, that is pretty. Too
Yeah.
bad it's against us. But yeah, it just sucks that Cerrillo kept Alba on side. He just barely kept him on side. Um, Obviously, he's not a center back, but like I said, he works like a double pivot. He has to fall back sometimes and help, with the defense. And he just happened to be the man that was just kept them on side. Of course, a beautiful pass, like you said, from Busquets, and a nice placement by Alba, near post, right? Place it perfectly right past Mitrovic, and
Yeah. And
you
and
shake
to
your
be
head.
honest, a 1-0 at the half, I wasn't even that mad. I was like, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
1-0, you could work around it. You'd want to get back to some good habits right in the second half to try to create chances. But in his first half, the fact that we couldn't get any shots off, it could have been due to the lineup. We've had some success when Marco Royce is paired up with Nascimento early as a starter. I understand that there's rotation in this match because we're looking ahead to play in the League's Cup against Pachuca. But was Pain still the right man to place target striker? I don't think so. But then again, who else could? You have Christian Ramirez off the bench, who hasn't had a great year. Of course, Miguel Berry. There's people that have their gripes with them, and so who else? It was very hard for the LA Galaxy to try to get anything fluid in that first half. Of course, the possession thing doesn't really matter to me anymore because if you have possession and you don't do anything to shoot on target, then what is all that for, right? So that first half, we escaped a narrow 1-0 lead by Miami in that first half.
yeah. No, it was just it was just it was kind of sad. Like you said, no shots. But the fact that they were able to limit Miami to just that one goal was like a huge plus. Did I feel that they were gonna do better in the second half? No, obviously not. Because that weird Frankenstein lineup, right, where everybody's kind of moving around, is almost like musical chairs, bro. Like, yeah, it's your turn to play forward. It's your turn to play defense.
Yeah,
Um,
basically. And then the second half starts. One Lionel Messi wasn't starting in this match. Comes in the second half and basically turns this game on his head. I know Joseph Painso had a goal in the 59th minute in the second half, which
that was
we saw the replay, right? Do
that was
you
a
think it
weird
went
goal,
in?
man. Well, just real quick story time. I
Yeah, go for it.
Saturday, I spent it. I mean, obviously, like I said, I have a son, right? I spent my entire day going from kid party to kid party. When you become a parent, at some point you start doing the kid party circuit. And so I was going from kid party to kid party, and I messaged our buddy Danny, who runs the Batter Herons podcast. I was like, dude, I don't think I'm gonna get to watch any of the game. But at one point, I was able to go to the restroom, and I'm sitting there like turn the game on, and I'm like, oh shoot, look, it's only 1-0. And I just so happened to turn it on right when Paintsville scored that weird goal because it didn't look like a goal. It was even his reaction. It looked like one of those attempts where the player comes in from the side, they shoot it, side netting, the ball just happens to carry him and ends up behind the net. That's what it looked like. And then you see, like, even their reaction was kind of muted. Yeah, they're like, yeah, yeah. I thought he was just happy that he was able to get a nice run, and then they're like, it's a goal. And I'm like, oh crap, it's a goal. All right, let's go, boys. And then I had to go back to the party, and then later on, when I was driving to the other party, I looked at the score and I was like, dear God, this was
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. It was it's the Messi effect, right? But let me go back to that Paintsville goal. I think that goal that he scored was he used his attributes, which is his speed, and it was beautifully done by Joseph Paintsville to still stay inside the line and get the shot off however he could. And fortunately for us, at that moment, it went in right. At that, what was it? What did I say? 50 something minute, right? It's 1-1. You're like, all right,
59th minute.
59th minute. It's 1-1. The LA Galaxy has a chance, right?
No.
Hell nah.
Sorry. No.
Sorry.
Am I mean?
No, 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 of course not. The thing is, like, what do you do against Messi, right? You don't have your starting lineup. You have you haven't won away. On top of that, it's just been one hell of a piece of poop of a season. So everything was against our odds. Like you mentioned earlier, you talked to Daniel in the midweek show, and yeah, as soon as Messi came in, all those things that you're worried about came to pass. We were soft in the middle. Messi scores a banger. Uh, Towards the end of the game, Suarez receives a magical touch of an assist
Beautiful
from
pass.
Messi, and of course Suarez just puts it in the back of the net. Dominant performance by Inter Miami, and the second half stats show it. 17 total shots to our 5. Uh, they had the better chances. Of course, we were more accurate in our passes, but I mean, possession doesn't really mean anything if you're not creating up top. So, Edgar, what is wrong with this LA Galaxy team? Because this is a horrendous showing, and I know we've got beaten 7-0, but I don't know this
Wait.
one. This one
Are you
seems.
actually asking me what's wrong with this team?
I don't think we've been able to figure it out this whole season.
No, we haven't. I've been asking all our guests too, like to get an outside perspective. What do you guys think is going on? And they're like, I don't know. What's going on with you guys? Like, I don't know. It is extraordinary. Just how bad this team is. How lifeless they look at times. And I'm gonna get into some details about just how historically bad this team is in a bit. But yeah, I knew they were gonna lose this game. Uh, but just actually seeing it happen, it's pretty bad. Like before we came on, right? I mean, can we put a bow in this game?
Yeah. The LA
Okay,
Galaxy lose, we suck. All right,
yeah,
and then
let's
we'll
put
get
a
to the
bow in
awards
this
after
game.
this.
So if you guys have followed us long enough, you know that both Brian and I are Clippers fans, right? And people like to dog on the Clippers because they had a horrible owner for many years, and they were
Clippers, baby, Clippers.
one of the worst. They were considered one of the worst franchises in American sports history just because of the way they were run. And then NBA stepped in. They took the ownership away, and he was forced to sell. And obviously, we have a new owner now. Not he's not new anymore, but our owner now. He invests so much into the team. We have a amazing state of the art stadium, probably the best in the NBA. And the NBA. I mean, Clippers are contenders every year, at least to get into the playoffs. So, but if you look back at the bad years, right, those dark years, Brian and I will tell you, like there were some years when they were abysmal, right? They were so bad.
12 wins.
but at least they had an excuse, right? They had a reason why they were bad because their owner was such a scumbag. He was a racist scumbag who refused to like spend in teams, and when they did get good players, they would drive them out of town, and so they were bad. Even when they got good teams, they were still bad. Like those teams where they had Quinton, the
Quentin Richardson,
Quinton
yeah.
Richardson
Darius
and
Miles,
Lamar
Corey
Odom and all.
Maggette. Yep.
Yeah, those were fun teams to watch, but they were still bad. So, but anyway, what I'm trying to get to is that when they were bad because they just didn't have the personnel, right? They didn't have good players, and when they did good players, they did get good players. They weren't here for very long. This LA Galaxy team, you look at the roster, and even the podcast, the Miami guys were like, "You guys have a good roster." It's kind of hard to to think that this Galaxy team is so bad. They were like, it's almost like a trap game. They didn't say that, but they almost said it, right? It's almost like a trap game because this Galaxy team on paper looks so good, but you have to play the games. And I've had conversations with people, both on Twitter and Instagram, even on Blue Sky DMs, right, where people ask me, "What's going on with this team?" Edgar, you've been following the team for years. What's wrong with the team? I don't know. I don't know. I've asked Josh. He doesn't know. I've asked Rob. He doesn't know. I asked Panda. He doesn't know. I've asked other fans. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's wrong with this team. We just look at the results and we can report on them. And in the end, you're like, they're supposed to be better than that, but they're not. They're just bad. And it's frustrating. That's the frustrating part. Now, people always say, "Oh, Edgar," especially when we have guest pods, they're like, "Oh my God, if you had told me that my team would win an MLS Cup and then they would be horrible in the next season, I would, do that at the drop of a hat." And that's fine if your team has never won anything, or if your team hasn't won anything in a really, really long time, right? But we're used to this team being a contender. Why couldn't it be like with Columbus, where they won an MLS Cup, and the following year, obviously they didn't win, but they were still competitive. This team just fell off a cliff, man.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah. 100%. And you answered Popo Zhao's question if you take a championship knowing that we're going to be shit the next year. And I think a lot of MLS teams would, like you mentioned, especially teams who haven't won anything yet. It'd be the first one. Of course, they take that and then have a horrendous season next season. But I don't know. We've been trying to figure this out, crack this code, crack this Rubik's cube, trying to figure it out, and we can't. What,
we do have a
Eddie?
super chat right here, by the
Yes, we
way.
do. But Eddie's are like, oh, what did I tell you about your new owner? Talking about the Clippers. What did you tell us? Anyway, let's heal Ricky Pooj right now. Adam asks, thank you once again, Adam. Can I get your thoughts if Mikovic could have done better on any of the goals? Why doesn't Vanny rotate the goalkeepers? Mikovic with McCarthy. Mikovic's contract ends in 2026. I still don't see him as a starter.
You want to take first stab at that?
I actually been liking Mikovic, and I think it's because he's been getting a lot of shots on him because it seems really bad, and he's had some pretty good saves in this match, particular against Miami. He had 5 saves, 3 inside the box that were clear goals, and he took them out. So, is he the starter for next season? I mean, I guess he is. He's gonna have to be because I don't think McCarthy coming back and starting next season would be beneficial for what the LA Galaxy wants to do, especially if they want to win the title. And then JT, what is it, Mike Wazowski?
Marcinkowski.
He hasn't had any playing time, so we don't know what he can provide for the LA Galaxy. So yeah, I still see him as a starter. What about you, Edgar?
Um, there's a lot of thoughts running through my mind because obviously, let's be honest, he makes some good stops. He's a good stopper, but as far as MLS goalkeepers are concerned, both him and McCarthy are far below the medium. I think they're mid at best. At best, they're not great, and they're not bad. They're not bottom of the barrel either, but they're not great. And I just feel that whatever conversation was had between Mitrovic and Greg Vanny, where we've heard in the past that he came here to play. He didn't come here to sit on the bench, right? And obviously, his heart is always set on returning to Europe. So maybe this is Greg Vanny saying, "Okay, here's your shot. Let's see what you can do. So you can pad your resume, and maybe next season, we, LA Galaxy might go on the market and look for a better goalkeeper, and then tell Mikovic, hey, you have your, you have your experience here. It's up to you if you want to stick with us as a backup. If they bring in a better goalkeeper, obviously, or with this experience under your belt, let's see how much how much you can get heading back to Europe. I think the Galaxy trying to do him a solid. Um, and notice I didn't say John McCarthy in any of this. I think he's gone at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what his contract situation is like at this very moment on top of my head, but I think he's gone at the end of the season. I think Galaxy got what they wanted out of him. I mean, he delivered MLS Cup for LAFC. He delivered one for us, and obviously we know what his faults are. Um, there, you can't have two goalkeepers that are almost similar in nature. I mean, obviously Mitrovic is younger; he's got more potential to improve. But the one thing I will say of Mitrovic is that he's matured a lot more this season. Not leaps and bounds, not like Cuevas, right? Which we saw him do great in Leagues Cup, but he's gotten better.
Yeah, and just having a young core kind of benefits the LA Galaxy too, because I know we were able to catch lightning in the bottle last season and win it all, but our lightning in the bottle is injured, so we'll see what we can do once the full team is up and running. So anyway, some awards for this match. We'll start with the game is off award. Whose
Awards.
game was off for you in this match? I know everybody sucked, but who was the worst?
God, I don't know. I'll say probably Cerrillo. I mean, he's not a center back, man, and you could tell he was struggling. He kept Alba offside on that goal, which gave Miami the lead that they ended up keeping. Uh, it's it's easy to say Sanka, but I mean, from what I saw, I think Cerrillo had a really difficult time. Obviously, played out of position. I could also say Pincio, but he scored. But he scored that goal coming in from the wing, not as like a traditional striker up top, like he had
Mm-hmm.
lined up. So go figure. But yeah, I'll give it to Cerrillo.
Hmm. I'm looking at the rating, so I think I'm just gonna go with the lowest rating. Uh, John the Rock Nelson had a 5.5. He was the worst on the pitch. Um, I think just because of that, to be honest, the whole team wasn't good enough. There was moments though where when Nascimento came in, they looked better. They looked like they were imposing their offensive will, quote unquote, on Miami, and what could have been if he would have started. But then again, like we mentioned earlier, the game against
Rotation.
the game against Pachuca is probably the most important game of the LA Galaxy's season this season. Let's go with an honorable mention: the You've Got Hartman Award. Who had heart in this match?
Oh, eh, oh my God. I'll say Pincio. I mean, it's kind of like I said, it's borderline, but he did score a goal. And he worked for that goal. It wasn't like something where he was like a tap in. He had to work for it. He had a very difficult angle to deal with, and he got past Urrutia for that goal. So um, yeah, at least we didn't give him a clean sheet, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm sure that's really good for his mental health. For mental health and his confidence. Yeah, especially because we've seen him be so frustrated all season long, and so good for him. Uh, but I will say, man, Gabriel Peck is somebody who I was gonna say could have also been game is off because he keeps doing that stupid cutback to that little shot to the left.
He always does that inside cut to go far post with the inside
Yeah,
foot.
man.
I mean, he's gonna get one eventually. He used to get those last season,
Yeah.
but the whole team is off this season. To be honest, for me, honorable mention, I guess, to Isaiah Parente for the assist to Paintsel. Um, Looking back at it, I don't really remember him messing up a lot, but also he didn't give anything to the offense, or this whole team was just horrible. But I guess for the assist, I'll give him the You've Got Hartman Award. And now for the most prestigious award in all MLS.
Hey, you read my mind.
And everybody in the chat can play along too. And if you're listening to this later, you guys can play along too. The NAGn Player of the Match. Who is your NAGn Player of the Match,
It
Edgar?
has to be Mitrovic.
Yes,
Because
100%.
I mean, they got smashed, but it could have been so much worse. So especially because obviously there was nothing going on the other side of the field. I had to give it to him. Uh, Good for you, Mitrovic. I mean, you still got whooped, but at least it wasn't like a world class whooping.
Nah, yeah, I agree with everything that you have said, and it also makes a case for him moving forward when he's able to make saves like that and kind of keep his team in the match. And I mean, like I've said earlier, we've got smacked 7-0. So the fact that it wasn't more than 3 goals this match round, I'll take it. And Mikovic had a hand in that, literally. Anyway, uh, Edgar, you had some stats
Well,
for
before
us.
that, let's go back to Adam's super chat from earlier today. I want to bring that
Yes,
one up.
you are correct. Let's bring that back up, and we'll give Ricky Pooj some healing music.
His hair, because he's got that luscious hair, man.
No great hair.
I haven't had hair like that in like 20 years, dude.
I'm about to go there soon.
So Adam asks, can I get your thoughts on people's thoughts on Sanabria performance yesterday, especially after exchanging jerseys with Luis Suarez, and was he a bust? Well, Sanabria, he's had such an up and down season. Uh, we heard some buzz about him, not extraordinary, but some buzz about him coming over from Paraguay, um, especially because his team, kind of, they didn't sell right away. They made LA Galaxy kind of work for it, but eventually came in and people were saying, hey, with Ricky out, here's somebody that could help fill some gaps in the middle because obviously we lost Mark Delgado, we lost Brugman, and some other players that were important. So having somebody come in here, somebody young, and we saw what happened with Peck, we saw what happened with Pinto, who's a little bit older, but maybe they could capture some of that magic, right? And he got hurt in week 2 against Vancouver. He was out for a while. He came back, and he's had mixed performances since then. But with maybe like one or two exceptions, he really hasn't been what I would say outstanding.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's been pretty low key, um, like very low energy, like doing just enough. And I've heard from many people saying that he's not a particularly very vocal person.
Hmm.
He's very quiet, very reserved. But dude, you gotta step up a little, man. You gotta be a little bit more vocal, and maybe that'll come, as he gets older, and as he finds his voice within this clubhouse. But he has not lived up to the expectations. It's not like we expected him to come in here and be fantastic. But
Yeah,
you're coming into a championship team. You gotta pull your weight a little, especially because of how much your former team haggled to sell you. You gotta do something, and it's been disappointing. And like if I were to give him a grade, I give him like a C minus. You know,
it's a passing grade.
it's a passing
it's a
grade. It
passing
is
grade.
definitely not a fail, but it's a C minus.
Yeah,
Because I feel like it's below average of what we expect from somebody like that, a signing of that, of that caliber. So what
but
are your thoughts?
let me because right now when I was hearing you talk, I go back to the point early in the season where he got injured, and I think he had some momentum until he kind of fractured his collarbone. When he came back, didn't really come back the same. Probably he doesn't play as hard because he doesn't want to get re-injured. So he's a project he reminds me of when we got Julian Alde. Julian Alde, when he started, we barely got here. Uh, he was also a C minus. It took him some time to get adjusted to whatever climate it is here and whatever lifestyle, and actually finding his voice, like you said, within the team, where he's able to hang out with certain people and actually form a bond of some sort. Sanabria could do that this upcoming season. But 2025, I was gonna give him a D
Yeah.
plus. I wasn't really too convinced, but I don't think it's something that we shouldn't be too down from that, because I think next season will be something that, especially with Ricky coming back, uh, is going to be better than this season. Hopefully.
Oh, and to answer the other half of that question that Adam had regarding his exchange of jerseys with Luis Suarez, um, we'll get to that other super chat right now. But uh, I don't see anything really bad with that. It's not like LA Galaxy and Inter Miami have bad blood, with each other. They're on opposite coasts. They hardly ever play each other. Um, I mean, if I got the opportunity to play against somebody that I looked up to, obviously I wouldn't be like Alexi Lalas, who I've heard in the past, like, yeah, there was a player, that I admired and I ignored him completely. So, I don't care about getting his jersey. I'm like, you're a bum, dude. You know, but I would obviously I would be like, hey, can we exchange jerseys? And if he said, yeah, cool. If not, then oh well, you move on, right? You take those chances, and if you get something out of it, it's cool. So I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's
Of
pretty
course, and he's a kid.
benign.
He's a kid too. Like, he probably
Yeah,
looks
he's a
up to
kid.
Suarez. Like, he's seen them in Barcelona winning champions, right?
Yeah,
He's
and,
seen the best players right next to him. Messi,
yeah,
it's Jordi Alba. Those are World Cup winning players
Yeah, and some of the
against them.
best players in the world have their own collections of kits. I'm pretty sure Messi has a large collection of kits that he has, gotten in exchange from all the players he's played against.
Yeah.
So, nothing wrong with that. And now we have another super chat from Adam. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, Ricky too.
Oh, hold on. Yes, $5 super chat from Adam. Yes, do you guys think a 5-year contract is too long for Sanabria? AU22.
No, I think it's good enough for what the LA Galaxy. Because one of the things that I did complain from the old LA Galaxy regime was that we would never go younger. We would never build something where we could have a core group of young kids or a young group and then build off of that. Uh, Winning the title was ahead of schedule. But let's keep it honest with each other. It was ahead of schedule. This year could have been the year, but now you have, another rebuild year after this one. So it's been very bizarre last three
Cratered.
seasons. Yeah, from being bad to then winning to then being bad again. Uh, yeah, that's a head scratcher there. Anyway, Edgar, you do have some
Oh,
stats for us.
yeah, yeah. Just real quick about that one. Obviously, Galaxy saw something in Sanabria that they could see him as a long-term project. I just hope that it's not like a Kevin Cabral type project where
No, don't do that.
poor Cabral, man. Well, no, I'm not gonna say poor Cabral because obviously at some point his his destiny is in his hands, right?
Yeah,
He had many opportunities at LA Galaxy and he pissed them away. I'm not gonna say he pissed them away. I'm sorry. He just did not live up to expectations.
yeah,
He went to Colorado. Colorado did us a solid by picking him up as a DP because it opened up DP slots for us. So thank you so much, Colorado. Colorado did everything possible to help this guy, and it still didn't work out. We're talking about Colorado Rapids. We're not talking about like Miami or New York or Chicago, some big city where where the media is going to be on you. No, no, no. It's Colorado, right? They don't have that expectation to challenge for cups every year, and he still couldn't cut it there. So
yeah.
I just hope that Sanabria doesn't go down that same route. I hope he gets the same kind of he evolves to the point where we could look back and say this was just the start of a great journey for him in MLS,
Yep.
and he becomes a solid player with Galaxy in the years to come.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
but
agree with that.
yes. So I got some
Here we go,
stats.
Edgar. Here
I
we go,
got
Edgar, just for you.
okay.
Here
So,
we go. Give us
folks,
some stats, Edgar.
so let's talk about how bad this team is. We had our buddy from St. Louis, Jeremy Clements, chat earlier. He's a St. Louis fan, and he's St. Louis at one point was definitely in the running for the wooden spoon. Some might say they still are, but they're kind of hovering around there. But I think at this point, LA Galaxy has a death grip on that wooden spoon, man. Like an angry mom holding a chancla, and right? If you know, you know. So I put together. I put together some notes, and you can put them up right now, Brian. So I put together the worst Galaxy seasons ever. You might have seen this before on another pod in a different kind of graphic, but this is the worst. And the one you can't see at the very bottom is 2006. Doesn't really matter because at the top we see 2025, 2020. Obviously, in 2020, LA Galaxy only played 22 matches, a truncated season because of COVID, and also they had to play the MLS's back tournament. But let's talk about not just the worst Galaxy seasons ever, because I'm going to get to that right now. Let's talk about the fact that this team has yet to win a match on the road. Now, even in 2020, they won two matches away at LAFC and at Portland. In 2017, right, that season where you can see they had 8 wins, 8 draws, 18 losses, 18 losses. Damn. In that year, right, they won 5 of the first away matches, which is incredible, and with the last one coming on June 21st, and then they didn't win any the rest of the season. It's like, damn, okay. So that team started off good and then just fell apart. Now the 2017 that team, the 2017, didn't win a match on the road until September 26th. So they waited until like almost near the end. They won versus Kansas City, and then they won their next two road matches to finish with only 3 wins, 4 draws, and 8 losses on the road. Now we were talking about how bad they were in 2023. That Galaxy team only won 2 road matches. One versus RSL on May 31st, and then another one versus San Jose on August 30th. So wow, that was pretty bad. But let's talk about this year, man. 2025 team um, is so bad. They've won only roughly 12% of their matches. On the road, they have 0 wins, 5 draws, and 9 losses. Now, I remember what I said. They've only won roughly 12% of their matches. At this point, they're projected to win only 4 matches and get 9 draws for the rest of the season. And that's an estimate that brings it up to a total of 21 points, making this projected, right, to be the worst Galaxy team ever, even below the 2020 team and their shortened season. That is historically bad. And people are saying, well, can't they win a match on the road? Well, let's look at the upcoming road schedule because no, Bryant and I talked about it, and man, it looks bad because LA Galaxy. Tell me which of these games they're going to win. They're obviously going to play the match against Houston, and that's the match that was postponed. And I had said earlier in the season, I had said a couple weeks ago, if they're going to win a match on the road, this one has to be it because Houston is a team that's been dealing with a lot of issues. They're currently 11th place, I think. Um, so Galaxy has an opportunity to take some points from them on the road. That's not a given. Obviously, Houston was favored in that match, but I think it's the best opportunity Galaxy has to get one this year because then in September 13th, it's away to Seattle at Lumen Field. Are they going to win, Bryant?
Definitely not.
And then, of course, they finished the season. On the road. The final road match for the season is going to be at FC Dallas on an afternoon in Texas. Are they going to win that match, Bryant?
Nope.
No, they're not.
Definitely not.
So this LA Galaxy team has an amazing opportunity to finish with. They're not going to be as bad as that DC United team that only won 4 matches all season. We said that they finished with I think oh, I think it was 16 points. I think the whole season, which is pretty bad. Or was it 12? I can't remember right now. But LA Galaxy is definitely getting away from that. But they do have a very good opportunity right now to finish with the worst record in Galaxy history. Um,
That's something that
and
has
are
to
we?
be like looming in the back of the minds of the players too, though. That
No,
should
I mean,
be,
well, see, here's the thing: the players they come and go, man.
yeah,
They'll hear about it. They'll be like, "Oh, you guys, are historically bad," and the players will be like, whatever." But it's the fans. We're the ones that are here every year, right? We're the
yeah,
ones that are here every year, or the people that cover the team. We're the ones that are here every year, and we know these things, right? And so this sticks to your mind. You're like, "Oh, damn, these guys could do something that no other Galaxy team has ever done," and it's not a good thing.
yeah.
Um,
Setting
but
records,
yeah,
baby. Let's go.
at some point, you're right. The players will probably hear about it, be like, "Damn, can you guys not, not do this, please? You're gonna go down as the worst team in team history." But yeah, no, it is bad, man. It is bad. Um, anyone? Can
uh,
anyone out there tell us,
I don't know.
what you think?
So we have, what is it? The LAXC's remaining games are 8 matches, correct? We
Yeah,
have 5 at home, 3 away. What can the fan base look forward to, and what can the players in the locker room look forward to
you mean from the final
from
eight
the final
matches?
stretch, the final 8 matches?
Okay, let's go over it then. All right. Up next is Colorado. Colorado is not a particularly bad team. They're pretty feisty. They're putting up some good results this season. And let me bring them up real quick so I could be more accurate with you guys. Um, Obviously, excuse me, the match is going to be here at the Dig, but Colorado's coming off wins over Atlanta. Uh, it's a home 3-1, and then they went on the road and they beat Minnesota, a team that's pretty tough to play at their stadium at Allianz Park, I think it's called. They drew a Seattle away 3-3. They also have a win at home over Vancouver, so they're not a particularly bad team. They barely lost to Cruz Azul on penalties, and so they're probably looking at LA Galaxy and they're telling themselves, it's time for a measure of revenge. Um, as far as the record between these two teams, and we're gonna bring it up again when we talk to our buddy Matt. But just so you guys get an idea, Colorado is one of the teams that Galaxy has played the most in the entire history of MLS. They play each other 97 matches, and Galaxy has like a wide margin as far as victories are concerned, especially at home. I know Galaxy has had a very rough time playing on the road up in at Dix, but um, let me give you as far as playing at the Dig, Galaxy has a wide margin, 31 wins versus 11 for Colorado, only 6 draws. So yeah, Galaxy should win this match, um, but there's no guarantee.
Yeah,
I said Colorado. Colorado's not a is not is no pushover this season, and they're gonna want to get some revenge after what Galaxy did to them in the playoffs. Um, it's so keep an eye out for that, and we're gonna talk more about this when we have our buddy Matt later this week.
so yeah, we have Colorado next. We'll see. Dallas after that, that's a loss. Houston, we're hoping it's a win. Then Seattle, that's a loss. Then Cincinnati, that's a loss. Then Sporting Kansas. We don't
You're
know
talking
about
about
them.
at home, right?
Yeah, that one will be at home. Sporting Kansas. The return of Dejan Joveljic, September 27th. Not sure if we'll get a
Circle your
win.
calendars, folks.
Circle your calendars. And then, of course, the last 2 matches, one away
Oh
in
wait,
FC
you forgot
Dallas.
one. So let's see. We got Colorado. That's up in the air, right? I think they can get a draw. Dallas at home. That's gonna. I don't know. Dallas is tough at home. I mean, they're down. They're a tough matchup for Galaxy, regardless. Maybe Galaxy gets a draw against that one. Houston on the road, only chance to get a win, I think, on the road. Seattle on the road, loss.
Nope.
Cincinnati at home, loss. Kansas City at home,
Dayon's
eh,
hat trick revenge.
hat trick for Dayon. Dallas on the road, loss. Minnesota at home, Minnesota's pretty good this year. So,
And then in between all that, we still have the Campeones Cup on October 1st versus Toluca. Uh, that's probably a loss.
oh, come on.
Well, we'll see.
Nah,
We'll
you're
see.
right.
We'll see.
You'll see.
We do got some super chats. I guess everybody wants to, especially Adam, wants Ricky to really heal.
Yes.
We just discussed it. Can the Galaxy win Saturday versus the Rapids? They only have 3 road wins.
Well, like I said, I think this Galaxy team is so bad they probably got a draw in that match because you got to remember they're playing Pachuca on Wednesday, and that's going to take a lot of energy. That because I'm pretty sure at this point, with your season is complete wash, you're cashing in all your chips on this one. You're betting
Yeah,
the house on this, so
100%.
you're gonna go all out in this match. This is your final right now, and I know that it's not the final of Leagues Cup, but every match from here on that's involved in Leagues Cup is gonna be viewed as a final. So they're gonna bring that kind of. I hope they bring that kind of energy on Wednesday, and we see it. So that means that against Colorado, we're gonna see probably a diminished team. We might see some more rotation. Let's say LA Galaxy advances in that tournament. We'll see what happens. How that affects their schedule. But as far as the match against Colorado, um, I don't know. Like I said, this team lives to disappoint us. That's just their mo. Now,
He also gave us another super chat. Thank you, Adam. Let me give that Ricky Pooch Hilly music. Any
this is a good
thoughts?
question.
Any
Oh,
thoughts
go on,
on
go on.
Stefan under contract through 26 with a club option for 27?
This is a great question for our buddy Matt Pollard. He's not here right now, but as far as me, Zach Steffen, at one point, you got to remember he was in the talk for being a starter on the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah,
He's one of the better goalkeepers I think in MLS. Is he the best? No, obviously not. He's not up there with Kalina or with Calendar, which is funny because Calendar just got sent from Miami to Charlotte. Um, um, but Stefan is definitely one of the reasons why Colorado is where they are right now in the standings. He's one of the he had a pretty rough start. I remember we talked to Matt about that, but he's been able to kind of acclimatize and get better. Um, that's interesting that they're bringing him in, they're keeping him in there. But Colorado, they've had some pretty good goalkeepers in the past, and I feel like if they can surround him with a solid defense, they could probably keep other teams from scoring that many goals on him because Colorado's not a team that's going to beat you that much on attack, but they can try to wear you down, especially because they play at altitude. And if they can wear you down and then make it difficult for you to score goals, that's an advantage that they're going to have.
yeah, 100%. Um, I think that is for MLS talk. We got some Leagues talk, Leagues Cup, Pachuca. I know you
Yay!
mentioned off air or maybe before when we were already on that we won't be having a midweek show with any Pachuca podcasts, but you did throw out some interesting stats to me earlier before we got on. Could you share those with us, please?
Well, yeah, I looked around. We asked our buddies that cover Liga MX, and everybody said no. Unfortunately, there isn't a English podcast that covers Pachuca. And I know a lot of us are bilingual, but we serve to the mostly English speaking market, so um, we couldn't find one. So sorry, folks. But how is Pachuca doing right now? Well, Pachuca, they only have one loss, which is interesting because they just lost over the weekend to Club Tijuana
Oh,
at home. They lost 2-0 to Club Tijuana, right? But before that, they had wins over Atlas, wins over Mazatlan, UNAM, and Monterrey. So they're doing pretty good. They're number one right now, and maybe just maybe they were caught by Tijuana looking forward to this match against LA Galaxy, and Tijuana punished them for that. But after such a good start, Pachuca's probably like, yeah, that's okay. Our focus is on League's Cup. We're gonna go
Hmm.
in there. We're gonna moiter LA Galaxy
Yeah,
and move on
Moida.
to the next. Yeah, moiter them
I got a
bums,
Moida.
and yeah, and move on to the next round. Um, so keep an eye out for that. As far as Pachuca and their squad, I can give you a quick look up at the stats to see how they're doing, statistically speaking. Um, as far as goal scorers are concerned, they have Yonder Cadiz, Venezolano. It looks like he has 3 goals. He has a couple goals in 3 matches that he's played. Luis Quiñones, who came over from Tigres, he also has 1 goal, and then they have a bunch of other players that have all contributed goals. But looks like they can attack from many different. They have many different players who could punish you. um, Alan Bautista, Alexei Dominguez, Elias Montiel. I mean, this is a team that's pretty well rounded. So LA
Yeah,
Galaxy has their work cut out for them.
one
Um,
hundred percent. And this is the match. All legs,
and
one basket. This is the basket, the League's Cup basket, and I have a feeling that the other guys is going to perform and actually wake up to this match. There's no way to get into the playoffs because there isn't. The silverware that you can get this season is the League's Cup, and on top of that, you gain access to CONCACAF Champions Cup once again. Big club things, right? You want to win it once again, and by next season, everybody's going to be healthy, apparently. So go for this one. Might as well. I know we're not too fond of Leagues Cup, but right now it's all we have. So let's get after it. All
to
in.
get to give you guys a little bit more perspective as well, I'm going to recap real quick the results so far in League's Cup, and it's going to raise some eyebrows because they beat San Diego FC, which is one of the better teams, one of the best teams in MLS this season. They also they played against LAFC in a match that they tied 1-1. They lost in penalties 4-2, but then they rebounded to beat Houston Dynamo 2-1. Um, and now they play against LA Galaxy. It's I want to say this is a winnable match, but I feel like Pachuca's probably laser focused on this match right now, and you could see that from the result that they had against Tijuana. So hopefully, maybe that's just a sign that that their early success was a fluke. I don't want to say that, and LA Galaxy is catching them on in a bad run right now at the beginning of a bad some bad form, but man, this is going to be interesting. I've heard people say, how can they be, one of the, how can they be the worst team in the season? I mean, in the league, but still one of the best teams, in MLS as far as League's Cup is concerned. But they played a bad Tijuana team. They played a really bad Santos team, and they took a Cruz Azul squad that didn't do so good in this tournament, to penalties, and they lost. So I don't know. Take these results in League's Cup with a grain of salt. Yeah, it was nice to see them score those goals, but we'll see. We'll see what happens on Wednesday. Like I said, this team lives to disappoint us, so don't be surprised if they ended up losing that match as well.
All right, there's some more Ricky Pooge healing music. Well, this is not music. It's more like a healing sound. When you
There
hear
we
the
go.
sound, Ricky Pooge is getting healed. Here we go. Adam, thank you once again. Any thoughts on last week's giveaway? Do you guys think any people who weren't season ticket members received a ring?
Let me see. Yeah, 2002, 2005. Yeah, 2012, 2014. 2024. Oh my God, my hand. Jesus
Too many
Christ.
rings there, sir.
I feel like this is like the Infinity Gauntlet at this point. Just missing that 2011 one, but I will say, as this thing, the 2024 is really gaudy, man. It's I think it's too big. I feel that the two rings that they put out for the 20th anniversaries for the 2002 and this 2005, I think, is the prettiest of all the rings that I've seen so far. It's really pretty. Now, as far as how they did the giveaway, it's really weird. I know they made a big emphasis about the season ticket holders receiving the ring ahead of like your normal crowd,
Hmm.
and I'll give them credit for that. But where I was waiting in line, I saw a guy in a Seattle Sounders Dempsey jersey in front of me, and I was like, wait, what? What the hell are you doing in line, right? And not only that, I'm sure you guys have seen it. There's an LAFC fan that
Yeah,
was in line, and the funny thing is that I remember I didn't when the Sounders fan got to the front. I heard the people handing out the ring saying, "Hey now, just don't sell it on eBay." Ha 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 ha. They laughed about
yeah.
it, and I'm like, that's the first thing they're gonna do, right? Because but let's go back to the fact that these people who are in line, right? Would you, Bryant, and for anybody out there watching, right? Whether you're a Galaxy fan or whether you're a fan of another team and you're watching us right now, if your rival, your biggest rival, right, had a ring giveaway, would you have the balls or the
No,
ovaries to stand in line for hours to get a championship ring surrounded by all these other fans?
especially wearing,
No,
yeah, especially wearing your jersey that's hated in that same. I don't understand people
no.
like that, dude. To be honest,
Why?
I mean, I'm glad that nothing happened and nothing, no altercations were caused. But come on, like, why do you keep poking at the bear? Right? That's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Go in
Now,
just plain gear. Go get your ring, plain gear. If you want to sell it on eBay later on, then do that. But
yeah,
what
going
are
as
you
a
doing?
casual, right? That's what they call it in England. Going there as a casual.
What are you doing?
Um, Now, as far as how they did the whole thing, I feel like it was more fair towards the season ticket holders. Obviously,
Hmm.
from what I've been hearing, right, there was 5,000 rings to give away. Obviously, it wasn't all 5,000 that were given up, right away, but there were like still like 500, I think, left over for anybody who came in after the season ticket holders. So, if you're one of those, if you're not a season ticket holder and you got in line and you got one, damn, the odds were in your favor that day.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, um, I mean, maybe the team will give some away during the season. I know they used to do that with the 2012 rings, the one that I have right here. The 2012 rings, it's not the prettiest, which is it's just kind of sad because you see the real one, the authentic one, which is gorgeous. It was made by Tiffany's. Um, but I remember for like the following season, they were giving these away like for different things like raffles and just whatever. Maybe the team will do something with the 2005 ones where they'll do something similar because they're beautiful. I really like it. I like it a lot better than the 2024 ring. I know people are saying, "Well, how dare you, Edgar? This thing is a monster, man. You can't
It is
wear
a
this."
monster. It's good. It looks good on display though. Shout
Yeah, it
out
looks
to
good on
faithful.
display. Like
Shout out to
this one,
faithful Angelinos.
I could
Shout
wear
out.
this one anywhere. But anyway,
Yeah.
yes, I digress. Any you? Do you have any thoughts on the ring giveaway? I know we saw each other in line.
I got mine, so I'm good. It wasn't as hectic as last time with the 2024 championship rings, but it seemed like they had a better, what would you call it, system in place for
Yeah,
people that
it's not
were.
perfect, but
No, it
better.
wasn't perfect. They let the season ticket members go in half hour earlier to get their ring, so it panned out. I got mine this time, so well, I got mine last time too, but you know, it is what it is. Like I was saying, shout out to Faithful Angeline Sports. Um, 3 against 4 was commenting that the difference between Leagues Cup and MLS is just that there in MLS there's nothing left to play for. So Leagues Cup it is, no matter how small the trophy is, which is not a small trophy. You get to play a Champions Cup next season, so that's something that I want the other guy to really go for at one point, and actually I would actually like to see them win another one. So that'd be kind of cool. Edgar, you did mention that we're gonna have a midweek show with our good friend Matt Pollard. Hopefully, we get that going. Do you have a day in mind?
Well, I'm still waiting to get confirmation from Matt Pollard, but We're aiming to have this on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. So keep an eye out for that. I will make an announcement. As you guys have seen him before, Matt is one of our favorite guests to have on. He's a wonderful human being, engineer without borders, by the way. He's done some wonderful things in Africa. Um, just a genial, great, all around
Yeah,
person to have,
really
and
cool dude.
very, very knowledgeable of not just the Rapids but MLS. So we're really looking forward to having him on again.
Yeah, he's always fun to have on.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess we're pretty much done here. Unless you want to say something else, Edgar. Anything else? Any hope?
Yes.
Any hope for
Yes.
the viewers?
Well, no, this is more of a personal note. I don't know if our buddy Jeremy is still on. He's a guy from, he's a St. Louis fan, but Jeremy, I want to, I've told him already over on Twitter, but I want to thank him so much because
That was really cool.
I'm
That
putting
was really
together, like, if you guys have met me before, I have a heavy metal vest, right? I have all these patches and stuff. I want to do something similar with LA Galaxy. So I already started. It's a project that I'm doing. I showed Bryant the vest already, how it looks. I have my back patch already. I already sold one patch on the front, and I asked Jeremy, hey, is there any way you can get me some like little pins, maybe St. Louis stuff, something something small I could put on my vest somewhere. Because earlier this season, when I met some St. Louis fans, one of them was really cool, and she gave me like a little St. Louis Riot Girls pin, and I'm gonna put on my vest. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll see what I can get you." I did not expect what I got. I got an actual box full of stuff. Apparently, he went and got me a scarf, right? And then he started telling the other supporters groups, because there's several St. Louis supporters groups, about me, right? He was like, "Yeah, this guy Edgar, he wants to know if you guys want to contribute anything." And apparently, they know who I am, and they really like us. They really like Nag, and they like me, and they put together like a whole box full of scarves from different supporters, pins, patches. And if you go to my Twitter, you scroll down a bit, you'll see it. My God, they sent me a care package. That's incredible, and
Yeah, that
I
was
just
really
want to
cool.
say thank you so much to Jeremy and to all the St. Louis fans, man. You guys are fucking awesome. So thank you so much. A lot of love for you guys.
Hell yeah, that was super
I
cool.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was super cool of them. Hell yeah. Nag is worldwide. We're worldwide, baby. Well, that does it from here at us at News Across the Galaxy. Edgar, where can the people find you?
Yeah, like I said, you guys can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram as Edgar Nags. Right.
You can find me as Bryant Nags on Instagram and Twitter. And like Eddie said, yes, it was award-winning Matt Pollard that we're gonna have on.
Yes.
Award-winning Matt Pollard. Hell yeah! All right, well, we're up out of here. That is it from us, from Edgar and myself. We're up out of here. And as always, keep on nagging. And like Edgar likes to say, Wu-Tang for life. Let's go, baby.
Wu Tang is for.